Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims. Machiavelli. Everything you've been told about success is a lie, and not an accidental lie, but a carefully designed one. From the moment you were a child, they told you, be nice, play fair, wait your turn. Teachers praised obedience, not brilliance. Bosses rewarded compliance, not ambition. Even in relationships, they said, give everything, sacrifice, put others first. But here's the truth Machiavelli would whisper in your ear. All of it was engineered to keep you weak. Because the world is not a fair stage where kindness is repaid with kindness. The world is a battlefield, and only those who learn the rules of power survive. This is not a motivational speech. This is a manual for survival. And if you're still watching, you already feel it. The hunger, the suspicion that everything you were told was designed to cage you. So let's rip the mask off. Let's step into the shadows where real power is born. Rule 1. Become the enigma no one can read. We live in a culture addicted to noise. Everyone is broadcasting on Instagram, TikTok, in meetings, at parties, constant visibility. But what happens when you do the opposite? When you vanish? When you stop explaining yourself, stop posting, stop showing your every move? You become a mystery, and mystery is magnetic. Machiavelli knew that silence makes people curious, and curiosity turns into obsession. If they can't read you, they can't predict you. And if they can't predict you, they can't control you. I once worked in an environment where everyone fought to be noticed. They bragged, they shouted, they competed for scraps of attention. I stayed quiet. I listened. I made fewer moves, but each one counted. Slowly, without realizing, people began turning toward me. Why? Because silence creates tension, and tension creates power. Exercise. This week, don't reveal everything. Delay your replies. Let your actions hang in the air unexplained. Watch how silence sharpens curiosity. Mini hook. Who controls the game? The one shouting every move, or the one no one can predict? Rule 2. Control the story they tell about you. Reality doesn't matter. Perception does. You can be brilliant, but if others see you as weak, you'll be treated as weak. History is full of this truth. Julius Caesar wasn't just a general. He wrote his victories into legendary stories before others could define him. He crafted his myth before his enemies could poison it. You have a story too. Right now, people are telling it behind your back. Maybe it's that you're dependable. Maybe it's that you're a pushover. Maybe it's that you're talented, or maybe that you're invisible. If you don't author it, they will. So decide, what word do you want to define you? Respected, relentless, decisive? From this day forward, live that word. Shape every gesture, every silence, every presence around it. Because once perception solidifies, it becomes reality. Rule 3. Turn your shadow into a weapon. Everyone has a dark side. Most deny it. They bury their anger, their envy, their ambition, because society told them those feelings are bad. But Machiavelli would laugh at that weakness. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is raw energy. The anger you repress, that is fuel. The envy you feel, that is motivation. The ambition you hide, that is destiny. The weak let their shadows rot in denial until they explode. The powerful direct them. They channel the darkness into discipline, into strategy, into precision. Exercise. Make a list of what you hate most in others. Then ask, what part of this lives in me? Accept it, own it, then aim it. Because those who master their shadow never explode blindly. They strike with precision. Rule 4. Make your mind a lab, not a shrine. Most people worship their beliefs. They cling to their ideas like sacred relics. But Machiavelli knew the mind must be a laboratory, not a church. You test, you dissect, you discard what doesn't serve you. Otherwise, you become a prisoner of your own illusions. Keep a journal, not of your successes, but of your failures. Each time you procrastinate, overreact, give in to fear, write it down. At the end of the week, study the patterns like a ruthless scientist. Where do you sabotage yourself? Where do you hand your power away? Do this long enough and you'll stop being the victim of your impulses. You'll become their commander. Mini hook. Who's the real enemy? The rival across the table, or the part of yourself that keeps losing to fear? We've just begun. You've seen the first truths. Mystery beats noise, perception beats reality, shadow fuels strength, and the mind must be dissected, not worshipped. But here's the part no one dares to tell you. These are only the opening moves. The real war starts when you begin shaping not just your silence, but your legend. And that's exactly where we're headed next. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are. Machiavelli. If part 1 showed you the silent blade of mystery, part 2 is about the mask you wear and the story others whisper about you when you're not in the room. Because here's the harsh truth. Who you really are doesn't matter. What matters is who they think you are. Rule 5. Author your legend before someone else does. I'll tell you a story. Early in my career, I was the nice guy. The one who said yes to everything, who worked hard, who never made waves. My reward? Being ignored. Meetings passed me by. My ideas were dismissed. I was a shadow in my own life. Then one day it clicked. The world doesn't read intentions. It reads perception. If you don't shape your reputation, someone else will, and you won't like their version. Julius Caesar understood this. He didn't just win battles, he wrote about them, glorified them, and shaped the myth of Caesar before Rome could define him. That's why we still say his name today. So ask yourself, what word do you want to define you? Fearless? Relentless? Decisive? Then live it. Walk into a room carrying that word. End conversations leaving that word echoing. Because power is not who you think you are, it's the legend they believe. Mini hook. What's your word? If 3 people had to describe you right now, would they use the word you want or the one you've carelessly allowed? Rule 6. Consistency builds the invisible throne. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler who breaks his word loses more than trust. He loses his crown. Because people can forgive mistakes, but they never forgive inconsistency. A politician can deliver brutal laws, but if he is consistent, he is respected. A CEO can make ruthless decisions, but if her actions align with her words, she is obeyed. Now, think of your own life. How many times have you declared values you failed to live by? You say you're disciplined, but you procrastinate. You say you're loyal, but you gossip. Every crack weakens your fortress. Exercise. Write your 3 non-negotiable values. Then track every time you betray them. Don't judge, just align, because consistency is the crown that silently announces, I am not a hypocrite. I am a ruler of myself. Rule 7. Fear is not cruelty. It's protection. Here's one of Machiavelli's most misunderstood teachings. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. People twist this into tyranny, but Machiavelli meant something sharper. Fear is not terror, it is boundaries. Love without boundaries is weakness. Fear sets the line that no one dares cross. Once I worked under a manager who avoided conflict. He wanted everyone to like him. The result, he was disrespected, ignored, even mocked. Then a new manager arrived. Calm, polite, but firm. Boundaries were clear. Respect followed instantly. The lesson? Fear protects what love cannot. Exercise. Define 3 red lines in your life. Enforce them without shouting, without excuses. Say less, mean more. Let them see you will not bend. Mini hook. Do people cross you because you're too kind, or because you've never shown them the cost of disrespect? Rule 8. Speak less, command more. In a noisy world, silence is a superpower. Those who talk too much reveal insecurity. They beg for approval with every extra word. But the one who listens, the one who answers with measured silence, that person radiates authority. I used to justify every choice, explain every move. I thought I was building trust. Instead, I was broadcasting weakness. Then I changed. I spoke less but sharper. I let silence hang like a weapon, and soon people started leaning in, desperate to know what I thought. Exercise. For 1 week, in important conversations, cut your words in half. Let silence breathe. Let others scramble to fill the void. Watch how their desperation reveals truths they never intended. Rule 9. Time is not a clock. It's a weapon. We think of time as neutral, but Machiavelli knew timing is power. Respond too fast and you look desperate. Delay with intention and you look invaluable. The one who controls the rhythm controls the story. Richard Nixon proved this in 1971 when he shocked the world by abandoning the gold standard. No one expected it. His timing was surgical, his unpredictability devastating. That single act reshaped global finance. Now look at your life. Do you reply instantly to texts? Do you rush decisions? That signals availability, not power. Try delaying. Wait. Respond on your terms. Soon others will chase your tempo. Mini hook, who seems more valuable? The one always available or the one who makes you wait? Rule 10. Alliances are tools, not chains. Machiavelli was ruthless on this point. Alliances are necessary, but dependence is death. Yes, you need allies. No, you must never give them everything. Keep 30% of your resources untouchable. Guard your independence. I once partnered with close friends. At first it was harmony, then egos flared. Money poisoned the bond. The alliance collapsed, and those who gave everything were destroyed. Those who kept reserves survived. Lesson: build alliances, but never chains. Connect, but never surrender. We've now unmasked the second layer of power, the legend, the crown of consistency, the shield of fear, the weapon of silence, the strategy of time, and the balance of alliances. But we're not done, because once you've mastered your mask, you face the next test. Bending not just perception, but reality itself. And that's where true Machiavellian mastery begins. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. Machiavelli? So far, you've learned to vanish into mystery, to shape your legend, and to enforce boundaries. But what happens when the storm comes directly for you? When enemies attack, allies betray, or your own doubts whisper in your mind? That is when you need a fortress, not of stone, but of mind, discipline, and strategy. Because power without an inner fortress is a kingdom waiting to collapse. Rule 11. Consistency is the crown. Charisma can inspire, wealth can impress. But only consistency sustains power. Machiavelli observed that people can forgive mistakes, but they cannot forgive hypocrisy. If you say one thing and live another, your authority crumbles. A ruler who makes brutal laws but applies them equally is respected. A leader who preaches loyalty but betrays it is despised. Look at your own life. How often do you declare values you fail to live by? You say you're disciplined, yet you scroll for hours. You say you're loyal, yet you gossip. Every contradiction weakens the walls of your fortress. Exercise. Identify your 3 non-negotiable values. Then track every betrayal of them. Correct yourself ruthlessly, because each inconsistency is 1 brick less in the castle you're building. Mini hook, wood. You trust a commander who breaks his own orders. Then why should anyone trust you if you do the same? Rule 12. Fear is your shield. Machiavelli's most infamous line: "It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both." The shallow take this as cruelty. But Machiavelli meant something colder. Fear protects where love cannot. Love without boundaries makes you vulnerable. Fear, properly applied, draws lines no one dares to cross. Think of the parent who never disciplines. The child grows wild, disrespectful. Think of the boss who avoids conflict. His team mocks him, ignores him, but the leader who sets firm, silent boundaries, he earns respect. Fear doesn't require shouting, it requires clarity. When people know the consequences of crossing you, they stop testing you. Exercise. Choose 3 absolute red lines. Enforce them quietly, consistently, without apology, because the moment you hesitate, your fortress cracks. Rule 13. Silence is dominance. The loudest person in the room is almost never the most powerful. The more someone explains, justifies, rambles, the more they reveal fear. Machiavelli knew that silence unsettles. It forces others to reveal themselves. In negotiations, silence makes opponents over-explain. In arguments, it makes rivals feel insecure. In leadership, it makes followers lean forward, desperate for direction. I once justified every decision, thinking I was proving myself. Instead, I was bleeding authority. The moment I stopped, something shifted. Silence turned into gravity. People revealed themselves, and I simply listened. Exercise. For the next 5 days, practice silence in key conversations. Answer in half the words. Let silence hang heavy. Watch how others squirm and reveal truths you didn't even ask for. Mini hook. Which unsettles you more, the man who shouts or the one who simply stares? Rule 14. Time is your weapon. The weak react instantly. The strong control tempo. Machiavelli warned, whoever controls timing controls the story. Respond too quickly, and you seem desperate. Delay with purpose, and you seem invaluable. History proves this. Hannibal, the Carthaginian general, once faced Rome's massive armies. Instead of rushing, he delayed, maneuvered, waited until the Romans committed. His patience set the tempo, and his timing annihilated them at Cannae. In my own life, I used to answer instantly. Emails, calls, messages. It signaled eagerness, but also availability. The day I started delaying, intentionally pausing before replying, everything changed. My time became mine. Others adjusted to my rhythm. Exercise. This week, do not respond instantly to anything important. Wait, think, respond on your terms. Let them feel the weight of your timing. Rule 15. Alliances without chains. No empire is built alone, but dependence is death. Machiavelli wrote that alliances without strategy are traps. Friends can betray, partners can abandon, allies can turn rival. The wise ruler connects but never surrenders. I once partnered with close friends on a project. At first, it was harmony. Then, money entered. Egos clashed. Loyalty fractured. Those who gave everything were destroyed. Those who kept independence survived. Lesson: build alliances, but always reserve 30% of your strength. Keep something untouched, untouchable. That is your escape hatch, your insurance, your independence. Mini hook. Are your alliances empowering you or chaining you? We've now reinforced the fortress within: consistency, fear, silence, timing, and independence. Together, they make you immovable. They turn you into someone storms cannot shake, betrayals cannot destroy, and enemies cannot predict. But here's the warning. Once your fortress is built, a new danger emerges. If you become too predictable, too rigid, your enemies will find cracks. That's why Part 4 is the most dangerous lesson of all, the art of unpredictability and commanding the frame of reality itself. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Machiavelli. By now, you've built your inner fortress. You're consistent, disciplined, and shielded by boundaries. But here's the next level. It's not enough to defend. The truly powerful bend reality itself. In every room, in every negotiation, in every relationship, there is always a frame, and the one who controls the frame controls the outcome. Rule 16. Be unpredictable. Routine is comfortable. Predictability feels safe. But for power, it's poison. The predictable man is easy to read, easy to counter, easy to manipulate. The unpredictable man is feared. He's the storm you cannot forecast. Think of Richard Nixon in 1971. The world expected the U.S. to protect the dollar's link to gold. Instead, Nixon shocked everyone. He cut it loose. That single unpredictable move rewrote the global financial system overnight. Allies, enemies, entire nations scrambled to adapt. He didn't follow their frame. He forced them into his. Apply this in your own life. Change your patterns. Switch your routines. Answer differently than expected. Appear when they assume you're gone. Disappear when they think you'll stay. Confusion forces respect. Mini hook. Who commands more fear, the one you can always predict or the one you can never read? Rule 17. Firmness without guilt. Machiavelli admired rulers who punished without hesitation, not because cruelty is admirable, but because hesitation invites rebellion. The weak say yes when they want to say no, then drown in guilt. The powerful say no without apology and never explain twice. Firmness is not rage. It's not screaming. It's clarity. The parent who enforces a boundary with calm precision is respected. The leader who punishes betrayal swiftly is obeyed. Think of it like a blade. If it cuts halfway, the wound festers. If it cuts clean, the matter ends. That's firmness without guilt exercise. Think of the last time you allowed something you shouldn't have. What message did your silence send? Now decide, what will you never allow again? And when the test comes, enforce it coldly, guiltlessly. Rule 18. Command the frame. Frames are invisible rules that decide how everyone sees a situation, and most people never question them. A politician frames a scandal as fake news, and suddenly the debate shifts from guilt to credibility. A CEO frames layoffs as transformation, and suddenly destruction is painted as progress. A manipulator frames betrayal as a misunderstanding, and suddenly the victim doubts themselves. If you don't command the frame, you will be trapped inside someone else's. Machiavelli knew this. He wrote that appearances often matter more than truth. Whoever names the frame wins the war. In your own life, this is simple but deadly. Never argue inside someone else's story. Rewrite the story. Don't defend. Reframe. Case study: Hannibal's trap. In 216 BC, Hannibal faced Rome at Cannae. Outnumbered almost 2-1, the Romans framed the battle as brute force. They marched forward, expecting to crush him. Hannibal reframed the fight. He lured them into overconfidence, pulled back, encircled, and annihilated them. The Romans thought they were chasing victory. In reality, they were marching into a trap Hannibal had scripted. That's frame control. Rule 19. The art of presence. Commanding the frame isn't always about action. Often, it's about presence. Picture a negotiation. One side shouts, demands, gestures wildly. The other sits silent, calm, measured. Who bends reality? Not the loud, but the still. Why? Because presence forces others to adapt to you. The calm leader shifts the energy of the entire room. The silent strategist makes others reveal themselves. The one who waits wins. Mini hook, which unsettles you more, the enemy screaming at you, or the enemy who just smiles in silence. Rule 20. Precision punishment. Here's a secret Machiavelli left between the lines. If you must strike, strike decisively. Half punishments invite revenge. A traitor punished lightly will plot in the shadows. A rival confronted weakly will return stronger. But a decisive act ends the matter. History proves this. When rulers hesitated, rebellion grew. When they punished with clarity, rebellion died. Cruelty isn't power. Precision is. Exercise. The next time someone crosses you, Don't react with emotion, respond with strategy. End it so cleanly that no one watching ever dares test you again. We've now stepped into the most dangerous arena of all, unpredictability. Guiltless firmness, frame control, presence, and decisive punishment. Together, these turn you from defender to dominator. But even here, there is one more level. Because power is not just about the present, it's about what remains when you are gone. In Part 5, we explore the final question. Not how to win today, but how to ensure they never forget your name. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. Machiavelli? Up until now, everything has been about survival, strategy, and dominance in the present moment. But Machiavelli didn't write for men who only wanted to survive. He wrote for those who wanted to be remembered. Because here's the final truth. Comfort dies with you. Legacy doesn't. Rule 21. Legacy over lifestyle. Most people chase comfort. They want the car, the house, the endless vacations. But history doesn't remember the comfortable. It remembers the consequential. Machiavelli himself was exiled, humiliated, even tortured. Yet his writings outlived kings and emperors. The prince is still read in palaces and boardrooms centuries after his enemies turned to dust. Why? Because he didn't chase comfort, he built legacy. So here's the question. Do you want to be remembered for what you consumed or for what you created? Lifestyle dies the moment the money stops flowing. Legacy echoes when your name alone bends the air. Mini hook. Would you rather live soft and be forgotten, or live ruthless and be remembered forever? Rule 22. Wealth without influence is weakness. Money alone is not power. Money can be stolen, wasted, destroyed. Influence endures. The Rothschilds understood this. They weren't just rich, they were connected. They financed wars, influenced kings, and pulled invisible strings across Europe. Their legacy wasn't money in a vault, it was influence that shaped nations. Machiavelli would nod approvingly. Wealth is only a weapon if it multiplies influence. If you hoard it, it dies with you. If you wield it, it becomes power. Ask yourself, are you chasing wealth for pleasure or for leverage? Because only leverage turns currency into command. Rule 23. Power must be trained daily. Power is not a crown you wear once. It is a muscle. Left untrained, it decays. Machiavelli compared rulers to armies. Armies that stop drilling collapse. Leaders who stop scheming are overthrown. The moment you stop practicing power, you lose it. Think of athletes. They train daily not for today's game, but for games years away. Power works the same. Every silence, every boundary, every decision is training. Each hesitation is weakness gained. Each exercise is strength sharpened. Exercise. Each day this week, choose one Machiavellian practice. Delay a response to test timing. Enforce a boundary without guilt. Sit silent and let someone expose themselves. These small drills turn into lifelong mastery. Rule 24. Realism over illusions. The greatest betrayal is the one you commit against yourself, believing the world should be fair. Machiavelli destroyed illusions. He told rulers not what they should do, but what they must do. He didn't flatter human nature, he exposed it. And the truth is brutal. People are selfish, fickle, envious, and driven by appearances. If you base your life on how people should behave, you will be crushed. If you base it on how they actually behave, you will rise. Idealism is comforting. Realism is ruthless. But only realism wins. Mini hook. Which side are you on? The comforting illusion or the ruthless truth? The final test, player or piece. Here we stand. At the end of the game, every lesson, every rule has been pointing to this moment. And now, the board is in front of you. You have two choices. Be the piece or be the player. The piece waits to be moved, manipulated, sacrificed for someone else's plan. The player writes the rules, bends the frame, and dominates the board. Machiavelli's challenge is timeless. Will you keep swallowing the lies of obedience and comfort, or will you embrace the cold reality of power and strategy? Because here's the truth you cannot escape. If you do not play the game will play you. The Dark Rules Revisited. Let's close with the two shadows you must carry. Unpredictability. Predictability is a prison. Break your patterns, and they will never hold you. Firmness without guilt. Every guiltless no is a scar in their memory, a permanent reminder that you are not to be crossed. These rules are not for everyone. Most will turn away, too frightened of what it means to live without illusions. But for those who dare, these rules transform pawns into players. Engagement. Trigger. Was Machiavelli ruthless, or was he simply honest about the world? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and remember, this channel is not for comfort. It is for clarity, for those who see the world as it is, not as they wish it to be. Subscribe now and join a community that trains power daily, that sees through illusion, that sharpens silence into strategy. The final question remains. When you look at your own life, are you the piece that gets moved or the player who dominates? The board is waiting. Make your move.